Reese Witherspoon just hit 50, and clearly she's not hitting the brakes on romance. So here's what we know. Back in July 2024, Reese was first linked to a German financier, Oliver Haarmann, and their debut wasn't exactly subtle. The two reportedly arrived in New York City by helicopter before heading to dinner at L'Artusi. Honestly, it sounds like something straight out of a movie.
Yeah.
At the time, though, the story sounded much more low-key. Sources told People magazine they were just friends. And she was said to be taking things slow, enjoying dating, but not making it a main focus. She enjoys it, but doesn't want it to be a big focus. She's busy with work and her son, said the insider at the time. These are her biggest priorities. But then things started to shift. By early September, the two were spotted holding hands leaving a hotel in New York. Not exactly just friends behavior. And by October, insiders were already saying she was having fun with Oliver. She was even flying between Nashville and New York to see him. And he was even spending time with her kids. Now, pause for a second because that's a big sign the relationship is moving into serious territory. We've known this was coming. What really stood out to Ree, according to sources, is that Oliver isn't part of the Hollywood scene. He's a businessman completely outside that world, and apparently she loves that. Fast forward to summer 2025, and things are looking even more official. TMZ published photos of the two vacationing in Tropez, and let's just say this was not subtle. Hugging, kissing on a yacht, swimming together, very much giving we're past the talking stage. It's been great. Then in September 2025, they were spotted in London, leaving the Barbizon Centre hand in hand after watching a production of Guten Night Oscar. And by that point, sources were already making it clear this wasn't just casual anymore. Her relationship with Oliver is very special to her, one insider shared, adding, "He's not interested in the Hollywood spotlight. He's there for her." They also noted that he's very supportive of her and that everything is balanced, and it makes her very happy. And here's where it gets even more interesting. According to insiders, Reese and Oliver have a very close bond because he brings something new into her life. As one source put it, this is the first man she has been with who actually guides her, teaches her, mentors her. They also added that he's been giving her advice on her business ventures like Draper James and Hello Sunshine, even calling him her little genius. And apparently that dynamic really works for her. He pushes her to be more, the insider said, noting that she enjoys how he takes the lead, even in small, everyday plans. Now, let's talk about him for a second because you're probably wondering who this guy actually is. Oliver Haarmann is a highly successful financier. He started his career at KKR, studied at Brown University, and later earned an MBA from Harvard University. In 2010, he co-founded StarElite Capital Partners. So, we've got a great platform. We built an international business across Europe and North America, and we've been able to stay flexible and find really interesting opportunities that are out of the common. So yes, very accomplished. He was previously married to Malagar and they share 2 sons. Together, they also launched the Sergio Foundation, which focuses on solving global challenges. And fun fact, he's also into sports and even owns a stake in the New York Islanders. Meanwhile, Reese's life remains deeply centered on her kids. Ava and Deacon with ex-husband Ryan Fipe and her youngest son Tennessee with ex-husband Jim Toth. That focus on family might also explain why even as her relationship with Oliver has grown serious, sources say she's not rushing into marriage again. Right now, she's prioritizing balance, juggling her work, her children, and a relationship that fits naturally into her life rather than taking it over. Looking back, Ree described the period following her 2023 divorce from Jim as a vulnerable time, which makes her careful approach all the more understandable. Throughout their relationship, Ree had been headstrong and focused, while Jim was the more laid-back one. Over time, the pair ended up spending less and less time together while the actress was working. According to reports, Witherspoon and Toth drifted apart and essentially became more like co-parents and less like a couple. Over time, the pair realized that they didn't really have any romantic feelings for each other anymore. What's more, it seems as though the split was a long time coming. Friends close to the matter explained that things in their marriage started to get rocky after Jim decided to change career paths. Toth made a name for himself as a producer in Hollywood and worked as an agent at Creative Artists Agency. He allegedly left his position at CAA to join Queeb, a short-lived mobile streaming service that crumbled just 6 months after it went live in 2020. According to reports, his decision to leave his position was a huge gamble. At the time, Rhea asked him if it was worth the risk, but Jim insisted that he was up for the challenge and felt confident that he'd bring home millions. Unfortunately, the risk didn't work out in his favor, and Quebec turned out to be a $1.7 billion flop. It seems that since then, things in their marriage went horribly wrong. A close friend of the former couple explained that Jim's career move was part of a midlife crisis that ultimately played a factor in the downfall of their marriage. The friend also claimed that Jim had changed massively just in the last few years. After he left the agency business, his attitude and his whole take on life really changed. They added he was tired of that stuffy world and being in the service business in general. Back in 2021, Riold her production company, Hello Sunshine, for a whopping $900 million, making her one of the richest women in Hollywood. Jim was a founding board member at her company and supported her decision to make the sale. However, the millions of dollars they made ultimately sent them in different directions. A source shared that the company's sale prompted a real gut-check moment for the former couple, being that they now had more money than either of them could ever figure out what to do with. Despite having drifted apart, the divorce was not an easy decision to make, and the actress was deeply upset by how things turned out. A close friend said, "Rhea is obviously disappointed and upset. She never saw herself getting another divorce." This isn't the first time that Reese has had to endure painful divorce proceedings. Before marrying Jim in 2011, the actress was married to Ryan Phipe. She and Ryan tied the knot in 1999 and welcomed their daughter Ava that same year. 4 years later, their son Deacon was born. After 9 years of marriage, the pair officially divorced in 2008. Ryan later described the split as the worst time of my life. In a 2014 interview, Rhea echoed his feelings and shared how difficult it was for her to end the marriage. She also admitted that she felt her career was impacted by the divorce. The actress shared, "You can't really be very creative when you feel like your brain is scrambled eggs. I was just kind of floundering career-wise. I wasn't making things I was passionate about. And it was really clear that audiences weren't responding to anything I was putting out there." Reese and Jim met at the beginning of 2010, shortly after her split from Jake Gyllenhaal. Less than a year later, the pair were engaged, and by March 2011, they got married in her California home. Witherspoon and Toth welcomed their son, Tennessee, in September 2012. The pair amicably co-parented their now 3 children with Reese's ex, Ryan, and Jim was happy to take on the role as a stepfather to Ava and Deacon. While it's sad that things between Rhea and Jim didn't work out, we're sure that ending their union of over a decade wasn't an easy decision to come to. Marriages aren't always easy, and sometimes couples grow apart and want different things.